Transhumanism. The word itself sparks curiosity, but also fear. If you've heard about it before, chances are you've also heard some pretty wild claims, from Silicon Valley billionaires trying to live forever to people uploading their minds into machines. But here's the truth. Most of what people think they know about transhumanism is wrong. And those misconceptions aren't just harmless, they actually prevent us from understanding what's really at stake for the human future. So today, let's debunk 5 of the biggest myths about transhumanism, and in the process, we'll get much closer to what it actually is. Myth 1. Transhumanism is about rich elites escaping death. Yes, wealthy figures often dominate the headlines. Tech billionaires funding life extension research or building brain-computer interfaces. But transhumanism as a philosophy has never been about hoarding immortality for the rich. At its core, it's about using technology to reduce suffering and expand opportunity for everyone. Think about antibiotics, vaccines, prosthetics, or even glasses. Each one was once seen as radical. Each one was also once available only to a privileged few, but over time they became accessible to billions. The real challenge isn't whether we should pursue life extension or brain enhancement, it's how to ensure equitable access as these tools develop. So, if anything, transhumanism isn't an elitist escape plan, it's a human rights project, asking, how do we make sure technology doesn't deepen inequality, but instead lifts us all? Myth 2. Transhumanism wants to replace humanity with machines. This is one of the most common fears, that transhumanists secretly want a future where humans disappear, replaced by cold, robotic beings. But that's not what transhumanism is. It's about preserving what makes us human, while freeing us from the limits that biology imposes. Blindness doesn't define humanity, neither does Alzheimer's, neither does an 80-year-old expiration date. The real aim is to protect human consciousness, creativity, and connection, not to erase them. In fact, most transhumanists argue that by enhancing ourselves, we become more human, not less. The goal is continuity, not replacement. Myth 3. It's just science fiction. Science fiction has shaped the way we imagine the future, from cyborgs to AI uprisings. And yes, many transhumanist ideas do sound like they come straight from a novel. But if you look closer, most of these ideas are already here, in early forms. Pacemakers are real, prosthetic limbs controlled by thought are real, lab-grown organs, gene therapies and brain interfaces, all real. Science fiction gave us the metaphors, but science itself is already catching up. Calling transhumanism just sci-fi is like calling space travel just Jules Verne in 1960, right before we landed on the moon. Myth 4. Transhumanism ignores ethics. This one's tricky, because some critiques are valid. Tech can move faster than regulation. Companies sometimes chase profit before responsibility. But the transhumanist movement itself has been debating ethics from the very beginning. In fact, documents like the Transhumanist Declaration explicitly call for democratic oversight, equal access, and respect for diversity. Ask yourself, is it more ethical to let people suffer from preventable disease and aging, or to try carefully and responsibly to overcome those limits? The ethical questions are real, But ignoring transhumanism doesn't make them go away, it just means we leave those choices to others, often the least accountable ones. Myth 5. Transhumanism is about escaping reality. Another fear is that transhumanists just want to run away into cyberspace, into simulation, into some digital afterlife. But in truth, the movement isn't about escape, it's about engagement. It's about solving real problems: disease, disability, poverty, climate survival, the fragility of the human body. Even the more speculative ideas, like mind uploading or space colonization, aren't fantasies of escape. They're extensions of a deeper question: how do we secure the long-term survival and flourishing of conscious life? It's not escapism, it's responsibility projected forward. So, those are 5 of the biggest myths about transhumanism. It's not just for the rich. It doesn't want to erase us. It's not just science fiction. It's not without ethics. And it's definitely not about running away. Instead, this philosophy is about something much simpler and much more profound, using knowledge, compassion, and technology to make human life better, longer, and more meaningful. And if that makes you curious, you're in the right place, because this is just the beginning of the conversation.